Hey team, how are we going? It is the floating head who is Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz. I am here with lovely Lauren, and we're going to cover a article, a story, a verdict, a situation that you need to put in context. Okay, if you're wondering what's happening at the moment, I'm wearing green, which means I'm completely cancelled out. I am the floating head for today's stream, and it's great to have you here. Okay, Mark Zamp, great to see you re-endorsing yourself as a sergeant in the membership. So well done. If you're watching for the first time, this is the time to subscribe and like if you do right now. I'd also ask everyone to tick the bell for notifications because it is getting harder and harder for all channels to be able to be found on YouTube at the moment. And you can see that in our viewership. Okay, so do that, subscribe, and then you can chat and talk in the chat because tonight it's going to be interactive. We want to hear what you've got to say on the case of Kyle Carruth versus the deceased Chad Reed. Okay, you're going to see all about that, and we've got a video to show you so that you can sit yourself in that juror's box, so to speak, or the victims or assailants, whichever way you want to look at it. So before we go into that, let's get Lauren to give a bit of an explanation of how you're going, and in about 5 minutes we'll put the video on after we've done the initial how you're goings. Lauren.
Yeah. We've got a full house again today, as usual. We've got Simon Powell here, Jared McMichael is here, David Penson, all the way from Vietnam, is here. Dave D is here, whom we were just talking to. Peter Mayfield is here. Daz, Carl was here. We've just heard. Oh, Lisa, your sister just became.
My sister just became a member. Are you using my money to come to my channel, my lovely sister?
She's giving it back to you anyway.
It always happens in December when it's close to Christmas, doesn't it?
John Paulson's here, Dutchy is here, Keegan Ronan is here, Leo is here, and Mason Thomas is here.
Mason Thomas. Yep. Two first names, always confuses people in the military.
And Reese Smith just popped in then.
Reese, good to have you here, mate.
Yeah, I hope you all haven't had too wild a weather.
Yeah, it's we're not getting enough rain here to wash a car in Penrith. But that's okay. We're expecting about another week of it. And if you go down and check out the Nepean, it's fantastic. Look, we've got a Fugazi in chat. Yeah, someone is claiming to be Deadpool. Okay, we've seen his kind before. Now he claims he's got a hand of colour. So there's a racist element as well.
Robin. We all know he is Robin.
He is Batman's offsider, Robin. Lisa, hey, little brother, and g'day, everyone. For those that didn't know I was a legitimate child, Lisa is my sister. You can go hard on her. She's got thick shoulders. She'll be able to give it back as well.
She must have put up with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us what you were like when you were a lad.
Let's just say that, I might have been better on the side of the shit house than Carl. Good to have you here, mate. Carl's back into his box, and it's good to have you all here. I'm just going to quickly frame this one up for you, guys and gals. Depending on what your age is, the reason why this has come to In the Trenches with Kaz as a topic is this is pertinent to you. If you are young and you don't realise yet, okay, you may be a juror in Australia or anywhere around the world. You'll be called on that as your civic duty. The other thing is you could be the assailant of violence in the name of self-defense, or you could be the victim of said manipulated self-defense. So you need to actually understand rules of engagement, force protection, escalation of force, etc., so that you understand when you're seeing someone that's jumping multiple steps with no real reason to do so. And if you do this yourself, okay, and you are the initial instigator of kinetic violence or solution to a problem because of perceived threat, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get out of a court of law favourably unless you have the kind of O.J. Simpson money to be able to get you the best lawyer. Because we all know, like Ghislaine Maxwell, the more money you have, you can almost guarantee your own innocence. Yeah. Duchy. Pass the duchy to the left-hand side.
Yeah, don't though.
Unless it's Zoolander, because you can't turn left. And we've got Oliver Twist, who, please, sir, can I have some more? No, you can't, you porridge-eating little fuck. This is an adult stream tonight. No porridge for you, Soup Nazi says. There will be some language tonight because there's a good chance it won't be monetised. There's a good chance that we may see the yellow badge of courage from YouTube. We've only got 19, 20 viewers, the least we've ever had on a stream, but you're all welcome and we're going to have a good time tonight. Peter Mayfield, sounds like a pack of durries. In self-defense, it comes down to you or them. In legitimate self-defense, you're exactly right.
Yep.
And I'm sure, Peter, you're going to be very interested in this video based on the case of Kyle versus Chad, sadly for Chad, where you might think this stinks. There's something wrong here, and we'll delve into that. We'll Delvine Delaney that. For those that are old enough to remember, Sale of the Century, would you be interested in this $50 note? That used to be game show levels of money. That's how much our inflation's gone up.
Delvine Delaney's was lovely.
Yeah. See what I'm Deadpool saying?
Yeah, but does he know Deadpool to get him to Robin? Do you know Deadpool? And maybe you can pass on that message.
Maybe it's a job for Batman, Cape Crusader, and his sidekick Robin, who was never considered edgy until now. San Francisco sidekick. We're seeing at the moment police forces in some of the US. The government is in a position where they are at a stalemate with mandates to do with COVID over there, and up to 40% of their police forces may be getting ready to step down. This is in the same time when places in the USA, those of colour, have been told that you won't do jail time for stealing anywhere up to $900 worth of merchandise from stores. And now there's raids happening all across Australia at Best Buys where gangs of up to 20 people are running in and just robbing a shop clean and getting out, and it's happening everywhere, and people have actually lost their life over it.
Yeah.
Absolute savages.
Yeah. Yeah, the world's in a precarious place right now.
It
Next
is.
year's going to be interesting.
Greggy Palmer. Now I'm thinking about crumb chicken every time I see the Palmer. G'day, young fella. I hope you're well. I thought I was older than you, Cobber.
I love the way your brain just works.
So did Sigmund Freud.
I don't know, he might be scared.
I'm 50 years old and look at my maturity level, wearing a green shirt on a green screen.
Exactly where it should be.
So those ladies that really want to swipe right, and for those sailors that have considered it, so you can focus on the focal point. This is a talking head. Well, let's get to the video, and then what we can do from there is extrapolate the points from it. We'll break it down bit by bit so you can actually have your say, because I'm telling you now, it stunk like shit when I saw this. I went, mate, there's something missing here. And Lauren was the one that sent it to me today, and we activated off this information. I just put my headphones on that will fit an average size man's head. Bit of Purple Rain on the side. Sorry, I've had a cup of coffee. I've got a bit of energy here, team. Now it looks even weirder. So I've got myself in place here. What I'll do is make sure you subscribe, team, because you might want to have a say in a moment. So what we're going to do is we go to here so you can see a little bit more of Kaz.
Yep.
Righto. And when you're ready, we're going to watch. I can't see chat at all while this is on. So I'm not trying to ignore anyone at all. We'll just wait till we see the thumbs up from Kaz. Good. We're good to go. And here we are.
A disagreement over child custody arrangements has ended in death. The argument escalated and a father was shot. And the man who pulled the trigger says it was self-defense. We should warn you, the video is disturbing.
It's an argument that is about to lead to one man's death.
Where's my son?
54-year-old Chad Reed is picking up his son from his ex-wife's house. Christina Reed and her new boyfriend are telling him to leave.
Get off of my property.
Then the boyfriend goes inside the house in Lubbock, Texas.
Bam. Let's have a look at that already. So what we've already seen at the moment is, and you're going to find out about this in a moment, this is a sanctioned father custody visit that they knew was going to happen. Mrs. Reed, her ex-husband has turned up. There's no AVO there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there legally. So that's happened. There's an agreed upon time, 3:15, that the son is meant to be ready to go with daddy. This guy has turned up, well dressed. I wouldn't want to wear a pastel coloured shirt, but everyone to their own. He's 54, I'm only 50. But anyway, so we're going to see what happens from here.
Visitation. This isn't a surprise visit. This is a pre-arranged visitation.
Yeah, let us know in comments if you're a dad. You know, just put a thumbs up there if you understand what is happening here. I understand. It's not a big deal. You're meant to have an open dialogue with your ex-partner. And you know what? It doesn't matter what the conversations have been that have been up to this point. Because she doesn't look stressed. The guy doesn't look stressed. Clearly they don't get along, you know, but he has turned up expecting just the normality to happen. Let's see what happens. Now, we've seen Kyle go back into the house. For what? You'll see.
Argument between the exes heats up.
Where's my son?
I'll go get him. I'm supposed to have him at 3:15. I get him at 3:15. If you want to see him, you see him up until 3:15.
Suddenly, the boyfriend comes out. He's got a rifle.
Okay, so we haven't heard any swearing. We haven't seen any physical violence. We haven't seen any escalation in force. You know, the wife doesn't look scared. She doesn't look angry. There is no reason why this boy is not standing on that deck with his bag of belongings and toys of things to do whatever he's meant to do.
Yeah,
she is standing off to the side and the guy goes in and the first thing he does is get a gun. Why hasn't he gone and got his son? This is a stepdad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's got a phone in her hand. If they're feeling so threatened, why hasn't she called the cops?
I'm wondering why she's standing where she is. Anyway, let's get into it.
Right, you gotta use it.
The two men go chest to chest. They struggle for the weapon.
Okay, they're pushing chest to chest. As we know in the USA, that normally what happens is there's a bit of give and take where you don't actually put your hand on the other person because that is assault. Okay? That can be assault and battery, because whether it be a male and a female or a female and a male, as soon as you actually are the one that put your hands on the other person. So this guy, okay, this is the first time we've heard him swear, and he's swearing because the guy brought out a tool that can be used for lethal force, an absolute escalation, rather than, why didn't you just bring your son out?
Yeah,
My
exactly.
boy, not yours, my son. So there you go. He's not trying to hit him. He's using his chest. I might be showing a little bit of bias to Chad Reed here already, giving away my hand. There it is, on what I think is happening here.
It's
But
hard not to.
it's hard not to. So this guy, he's got his weapon there.
Kyle Carruth fires into the ground.
Call 911.
Then he turns and fires two more shots.
Pretty bad. He's made distance. Okay. there's a whole bunch of things that he could have done before now, before going and getting a gun. Is that your first situation? Are we getting mixed up with the stand your ground, mixed with self-defense, mixed with your home is your castle? This guy clearly knows his rights. The guy that's on the porch, stayed on the porch of his house deliberately.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
You know,
I have it on video, Kyle.
I told all of y'all to leave.
The dead man's widow just released the video. She told GMA that she never could have imagined she would be recording her own husband's death.
It certainly wasn't going to de-escalate the situation, was it?
No.
He was so frightened, why didn't he just stay inside his house?
That's right. And he didn't follow him in. We're saying this allegedly because no charges have been laid, despite the fact the fatal shooting happened against a father who was coming to pick his son up and dressed for the occasion while his wife was sitting in the car filming, because no doubt there has been previous either manipulation of timings, problems, and he's probably get it on camera just in case they're dickheads again today.
Yeah, I think they knew that was going to be trouble, because if you notice, one of those camera angles is from inside the house, from looking through the blinds, so somebody else is filming. They've known there was going to be trouble.
Trouble.
Yep.
I thought it was
but I don't
like
understand why the ex-wife, she's acting weird to me.
Well, you would think that regardless, you'd be very upset. At no stage did someone say, get off the property. At no one stage did they say, wait here, we're going to go and get him now. At no stage did someone say, if you're going to carry on like that, you're going to get the police. He didn't even escalate his position until Rat Boy here, went and got a weapon and brought it out. And he said the words, if you're going to bring it out, you better be prepared to use it, because that's a common statement too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And, you know, when it comes to your kids, I bet you're the same, but I could go full mama bear. I tell you, if I thought there was, you know, something really wrong and my kids, I'm probably not going to back down, even if there's a gun.
That's it. And he didn't think the guy was going to do it, clearly.
No, exactly.
Remember, this visit has probably happened 100 times in the past.
Yep, exactly. You know, because this was a scheduled visit. And there was something that the mum said, the ex-wife, that sort of made me think, oh, really? Was when she said, I wanted to have more time with him. Well, you don't get to do that for a scheduled visit. When you've got a co-parenting plan, you stick to it.
Yep. I don't know how old the son is either.
There's two children, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like this girl and I don't like this rat. But let's keep watching.
Stun gun or a taser gun or something. Like, who's going to bring out? They're having a discussion about a custody thing.
The shooting is reminding.
Now, what they're going to try and do now is there seems to be a narrative. And they're going to try and actually link this to the Kenosha case with Kyle Rittenhouse, which is absolutely different. Okay, this is Kyle Rittenhouse at the moment that you see on the screen, where he turned up, cross county lines, didn't take a weapon with him, got a weapon from his friend because he was going to be a first aider responder, okay, on the ground at Kenosha, where the rioting was happening. Now, allegedly, and I saw this video because it showed you live, the protesters, leftists, anarchists, were basically there, and they would set fire to a dumpster, and they were pushing it, I believe, allegedly, through a petrol station, which is almost a terrorist activity domestically. And he went and got it and pushed it out of harm's way, and that's when the attack came on him. Why did he have a weapon? Because this was the sort of way they treated him, and they were not scared of him having an AR-15, which is an assault rifle. As a soldier and as a veteran, I can tell you I've carried a Steyr, I've carried an M4, I've carried an M16 variant, an AR Armalite rifle, 223, can be 5.56, can be 9mm, can be 7.62, doesn't have full auto, but guess what? infantry soldiers do not go to full auto. There is no reason to do so. We fire well-aimed shots, double taps, and then we continue on there with well-aimed shots. So it is a weapon that can be used for lethal effect. Now, he took that weapon and they still chased him down. He blew away one guy while they were chasing him, saying, get him, kill him, allegedly. And then there was a second one that attacked him. He shot him too. Minimum amount of rounds. And then there was the third guy that was hitting him with a skateboard and ended up saying, goodbye, Irene, to his right bicep, which again got taken off with a weapon, with a round. Then he ran to police, said, this is what I've done. Help me. I've got a mob who's trying to kill me, actually trying to kill him. So don't get the two confused. There is nothing at all to compare between these.
Many of the Kyle Rittenhouse case. He claimed self-defense and was acquitted. The boyfriend in Texas, identified as Kyle Carruth, is also claiming self-defense. We asked legal analyst Royal Oakes to look at the video.
I hate this guy.
When you're going nose to nose, chest to chest with somebody who's so much bigger than you, he literally swings you around 360 degrees, then he grabs your gun. I would take that self-defense case to a jury 7 days a week.
I'll tell you what, this is what I come to here, Lauren. This is what concerns me, especially in the USA, but it'd be the same in Australia. We are so bipolar in the way we think now, and the prosecution and the defence teams get to pick an equal amount of jurors to get a balance, that what could very well happen is you have people that are absolutely impossible to get any middle ground, that could go in there with an agenda, could go in with a political opinion, could go in there to deliberately skew this case, and you could end up with with Chad Reed losing his life while all he ever did was go to get his son legally.
Legally, yeah, exactly. Yeah, indeed. Because people are very polarized now, and it's I could see that if they're trying to go for a fair jury, but the truth is, not even any charges have been laid.
Yeah, no charges laid. Yep. Let's watch the last 20 seconds, and then we'll get rid of this off the screen.
Sure.
Carruth has not been arrested. The shooting is still under investigation.
Righto. So you've seen that. All right. I've got a couple of things that I wanted to talk about here, but what we'll do is we'll make sure that we go to the chat first and see what they've got to say. G'day, Tyler. Total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, brown eye. That's what Elton John says. Oliver Twist, messed up. Yeah, dude. I can see black shirt was the problem the whole time. Yeah. Little man. Film everything when there is a custody dispute. Lisa, absolutely agree. She's got someone else's cat now.
Good policy.
Yep. You got to protect yourself, team. And guys and gals, you're going to be on the ground. Those that are going to military, guess what? The private soldier is nearly in the 3-block war, the person who is closest to where the rubber meets the road, where the friction occurs, where an incident happens, and they might be the ones with the cameras hoping that 60 Minutes will come and pay the bill as they fabricate soundbite and alter things on a political ground. So be very careful there.
Yep. Indeed.
Yep, Simon Powell said it right too. Little man syndrome. What we're going to do in chat right now, Lauren. How do I do it? There we go.
Did you do it? I don't even know what you're trying to do.
I'll ask question. What we're going to... Wait, I'm going to put the phone down for a second. Is Kyle the shooter, G-U-I-L, guilty or innocent? Okay, so this is for you, team. Look how good this is. So goddamn good. Bam. This is worth subscribing to right now. Where are we? Where is it? Did it go up the top?
It is.
It turned up?
Okay.
Okay.
So what is Okay, so the question is, Kyle the shooter, guilty or innocent? So which is yes and which is no? No is innocent and yes is guilty?
Yes is guilty. No is innocent. And because this is a fantastic thing we're doing right now. Because if we even have now discrepancies between each other, remember on a court, a jury, that you need everyone to unanimously come up with the right decision. And some people will not be swayed, will not. And that what that causes is deliberation. And then what that means is how much money, who's behind this. And this is going to be a case where someone tries to get rich from.
Yeah.
So some of the questions.
Yeah, Simon Powell said, I'm sure that I've read somewhere that self-defense in Texas is defined differently than elsewhere. Well, this is the definition for Texas, okay? In Texas, self-defense is defined by the Texas Penal Code 9.31, and it says, this section states that a person is justified in using force against another when and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the force is immediately necessary to protect the actor against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force.
Yep. And there'd be predicates for this where, for those that think he's innocent, where you'd go, at what stage did you ever think that anyone's life was in danger other than Chad Reed, who ultimately lost his life? And I believe this was a murder. I believe this allegedly was deliberately set up. His wife, for some reason, women are unable to keep their nose out of bullshit. Why is she standing over there instead of coming over and saying to her own ex-husband, just wait, I'm going to go and get your son. Or he's not here at the moment. Give me some time, whatever. There was no talk down. And she was...
Truthfully, new partners should have very little to do with the custody arrangements whatsoever. I think it's interesting that law says that you have to believe that force is immediately necessary. Now, he'd stepped back from him.
Yep, so and that comes down to people saying my lived experience, my lived truth.
Well, look, how come the dude, right, her boyfriend, was more scared than she was? Because she was just standing there. She didn't even ring the cops. She was so scared to get a phone in her hand. But yet he was so scared, he went and got his gun. I'm not buying it.
Well, that's why I wrote here when I was writing this. Was this set up? It felt like it.
Yeah.
Because it's very weird that both people would have come out without the son unless they knew that there was something about to occur.
Yep.
Okay, that could have been brought down straight away by any instruction. They deliberately didn't answer anything he said about his child. And that was... Yep. His missus was still in the car. She thought this was going to be a stop, drop, pick him up, let's go. I've got the stand your ground is a rule where you don't have to back up. And if someone forces you to back up, you don't need to. And then you can stand your ground, you can use force. Then there's the house is my castle, where if someone tries to come into your yard uninvited, it is like a declaration of war and you can defend it just like you can a country. And then there is purely self-defense. On this one, I would imagine that the self-defense is the one they would try to go for. Did Chad threaten Kyle at any stage? The answer is no. There was an altercation that was accelerating, sure. Okay, but that was, I believe, because a reaction to an action. There was no threat of violence. There was, if you're going to bring that out, use it, a taunt, a dare. I can't believe this is occurring, as he spins his head around. Did Chad threaten? No, he didn't. Wife's involvement, didn't attempt to get the police, didn't try to talk it down, didn't try to argue anything. You know, she stayed back. She knew what was going to happen, allegedly, from my point of view. Where was the son? Why did he go back and get a weapon and not get the son? You know?
Exactly. There's so many questions.
And why was the son getting held back from the dad? Because if they had an AVO, this wouldn't have occurred. That would have been, that's it, we're calling the police, Chad. You'd know you're not meant to be here. This was an organised visit. No doubt, he probably still pays maintenance for this child. Okay, and that rat, the rat,
you know? Yeah, exactly. Who it's got nothing to do with.
He shouldn't have even been talking to him.
No, it had nothing. He should have been doing what the other guy, what the dad's missus was doing, sitting in the car recording it. Just go record it.
Yep, you two sort that out. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Lisa's made a fair point.
What'd she say?
That it actually looks like the new partner is abusive, because she said he certainly believes he's king poop. And yes, he does act that way because it's got nothing to do with him.
Yeah. And I can tell you what, nothing makes a man angrier than when he's going to pick his child up if a third party that is not blood gets involved. You'd be going, who the fuck are you to tell me about how I pick my own kid up?
It happens to women too when the new wives sometimes aren't any good and they get involved, and then it makes a drama, and it's just, seriously, it's got nothing to do with the new people.
Especially if she's younger and hotter.
Yeah, Adam said, well, that too. Adam said he should have played it smart, leave, so he'd still be able to see his son. I don't think he should have had to.
No, that was an organised lift. There is not one father on earth that would have gone, oh, well, that's a great idea. I'm going to get in the car and go home now.
He didn't rock up there and think, man, this dude's going to shoot me. No, he rocked up there to get his son for a scheduled appointment, scheduled visitation. And also, those court processes can take a very long time. So if he goes, she's going to use that to her advantage in court. You know, it's going to drag out. It's going to be a long, long time before he actually physically gets to see his son when he's already done that.
Yeah, he was quiet and he's right. No doubt they were about to go somewhere on an activity. They were dressed to be able to be going and doing something. So if you put yourself in the seat of the jury, and we've already done that tonight, we made the poll. 91% have said yes. I wish I could hear the voice and the argument for the people that are saying no, because they might come up with something that I haven't thought of yet that would be quite valid.
We've only been looking at this for a day.
You know, if that guy just fired at the ground, you have every reason to grab that rifle and push it out the way and go, what are you doing, you dickhead?
Yep.
You know, I understand that you could use that for a shady legal defence, but I won't change my mind. By looking at this, I believe this is a setup and this was a manipulation, and they knew exactly what was going to happen, because at no stage did the boy get brought out. So you're on the jury. We've seen 91-9, which means we've already got a split jury.
Yeah,
this is how easy it can be for there to be no justice. And at the moment, we're looking at justice. There is a son who now has a dead father because this guy might be getting away with it, and then potentially living with the son and having power over him if he's not an adult yet, after killing that kid's son.
Yep, exactly.
So we've watched the complete video. We've listened to the facts. You've seen it yourself. We're not taking any previous account. There's no police involvement here. Try to keep the emotion out of it. You too, Kaz. #me too.
That's difficult.
Guilty or innocent, you have made your decisions. That may change. It may not. Okay? But you need to live with your decision. And I'm sure that if you're in the case, you'd actually see this scaly bastard for the rat he is, and you might change your mind, realising this was a little bit more calculating than I thought. Yep. One day, we could be defending you. Remember that. If you let scumbags, use the system, don't be surprised when one day it happens to you as well. Anyone with common sense would have had a hell of a lot of questions to ask after this one. A lot.
Indeed.
Very interesting indeed. Simon Powell. Can I play devil's advocate? Yep, you can play devil's advocate, Simon. That's why we're doing this, mate. That's why we're doing this.
And there's a few rabbit holes to jump down too if you want to look into this case more. There's some talk, and I haven't verified it, that the guy who was the shooter had been married to a judge in Texas, and so there's a whole group of people who think maybe there's been an injustice in the investigation. So there's a lot of rabbit holes too, and the hashtag is Justice for Chad, if you want to look into it.
Yeah. Well, I've seen all I need to know, and there's only one thing that Chad Reed needs to be booked for, and that is bad fashion.
Yeah, and that's not a death penalty, you know. Call the fashion police.
And the sad thing is, you know, there we go. The sad thing is, Simon there was saying that what if the court see Kyle on his porch as the man of his castle, and that's if the law is there. You're clearly. I know that you're having your say there, but you're making it fit your narrative, Simon. There was no danger. There was no altercation happening at all until he was in no danger whatsoever, did not intend on producing the son, and then went, no threats had been made, no swearing had occurred, there was no aggression, and he also wasn't on his porch when he went and got the gun and brought it back out, which escalated everything. And that house could very well have been Chad Reed's house originally.
I agree. I don't know, Lisa. I don't know why the new wife didn't ring the police either. I think she was probably just so shocked when the gun came out, and then maybe thought, wow, I've really got to record this now.
If he'd have turned up and straight away he was pushing, Kyle around, you know, using his size over him, ragdolling him around and all that sort of stuff, I'd still be going, well, like you said before, Lauren, if you went into your house, you're now safe. So you left your new wife, girlfriend, out there with someone you thought was dangerous while you went and got this weapon that didn't take you long to get, so it didn't come from a secure location either. And you brought it back out and went straight from firing into the ground to stepping back, you know, and then double tapping in the centre of the scene mass. Okay, the target was probably 5 metres from you. Now, don't get me wrong. In law enforcement, the 21-foot rule is applied. If you were within 21 feet, you know, which is under 7 metres, then it is considered that you will not have time to be able to react, get a weapon system out of your holstered pouch, utility belt, etc., and you can use that weapon, you know, because of the limited amount of time that you've got now to make a decision. He turned his back on supposedly the threat, walked inside in a huff, you know, and then came back out full of emotion and short man energy, right? And then that was when the situation went up. So he wasn't in any danger. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, right? Apparently the child that was going to be picked up for the visit was not even at the property. So they've known he was coming to pick that child up.
It gets deeper.
You know, so why wasn't the child there? Did they not want him at the situation that they knew was going to happen? You know, it's interesting, Simon, because you never know which way it's going to go with any court, really, but especially in the US, you just never know how it's going to go.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and we've got our own opinions on all that sort of stuff. What's it? I don't know what their background is, if any of them were law enforcement or military. You know, because Kyle, he seemed very comfortable with that weapon system, except when he came out and had it between them and then shot at the ground, or was he trying to shoot him in the foot? I don't know.
He's a cattle man, so he works on big farms.
Okay. Ranches. Yep. So the sight of blood doesn't worry him, so to speak.
Lurker's got a good point.
Yeah, go Lurker.
He says that there are some states that have the castle doctrine where you can shoot someone who has entered your property without permission, but surely...
He has permission because it's a scheduled pickup, and they knew that he was coming at that time, which is the reason why they were outside to greet him. And the fact that there was no police there also shows he was legally allowed to go there. There was no DVO against him.
No, nothing like that.
And he turned up passive. Where's my son?
He wasn't breaking the windows to try and get into the house. He didn't try to barge past him to the door. He didn't, from what I could see, he wasn't making any movements to try and breach the castle. Yeah,
he even turned his back on the rat, allegedly, You know, while he was speaking to his ex-wife.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He run in to get the gun because he was apparently so threatened. And the thing that the guy said straight after he'd done the shooting too was interesting, I thought, where he said, I told you, not to come to my property. Well, how else are they going to pick up their kids? Because like David Henson said, he used to pick his kids up at the park, and that's always a great idea to do the changeover in a neutral spot.
Leo is right on here. Who's got the best lawyer is going to win this one. Unfortunately, the son can't win, and neither can Chad Reed, who's also the name of Australia's best trail bike rider. I'm actually quite surprised that there is 12% people saying that that Kyle isn't guilty. That really surprised me, actually.
That's what happens, isn't it? People make up their own mind.
Well, and they can, and that's what they have it for. But what this says to me is, I've been on jury duty before. It scares me that if I was in that situation, in a jury, and the facts kept coming out, and I was thinking more based on my professional training and experience in rules of engagement, force protection, escalation, etc., that if I felt like this guy was going to walk, I don't know what I would become against my fellow jurors.
Yeah, well, it might even be a case of that they think that they're of the belief that even if he is in the wrong, he shouldn't be. So they might think that there should be a law where you're allowed to shoot someone who just comes onto your property.
Well, there is, and that is the castle law, stand your ground law, and self-defense to a degree. But what we're seeing now, and only really in the USA, is a spate of reverse-engineered situations where people are lured to properties and then dispatched. And even though everyone looks at it and goes, this is clean cut, what occurred there is a case of whatever it be, first, second, or third degree, they get away with it because of technicalities, and this will become a case. Another example of this is the lovely lady from Australia that got blown away, got blown away by the policeman, man of colour, that actually reached over past his own partner and shot her and killed her in the US, and he got it. He just got acquitted.
No.
And he can't explain why he did it. He shot the person that did the 911 call, who was unarmed, female, the person that had actually rung 911.
Gosh.
And he shot and killed her, and he hasn't done any. And that's someone who's trained in rules of engagement and firearms, and there was no accident because he used the minimum amount of rounds, and it was fatal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you might be right there too, Simon Powell. He said he doesn't believe that the USA has a gun problem. He does believe that the USA has a mental health problem. I don't even think we can look at it from...
But it's not even mental health. It's,
yeah, exactly.
It's just a manipulation of the system where you know by either the melanin in your skin or different things that you can manipulate this system. You know, how many times do you see someone of wealth that gets away with something in these famous cases as well?
Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens an awful lot.
I believe the legal system is as broke and busted as what the political system is.
Yeah, I think it is too. But I don't have a better solution though. I think coming from Australia, it's like difficult for me to have an objective view of America's gun laws because we're not like them. You know, it's silly when people use Australia as an example for why America should keep their weapons. We never had that Wild West where everybody was just going around gun toting. You know, it wasn't like that. We never had a right to bear arms.
We also haven't had an enemy on our home soil and had to fight for our independence like New Zealand did and US did.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm not judging them for that. And that's what I'm saying is I don't know. Like, we are not walking around scared all the time because we aren't allowed to tote guns. But it's probably totally different in the US.
And guess where 94% of gun crimes happen at?
Where?
Gun-free zones.
Yeah, there you go. And look what your sister just said. She said true, Simon, take away the guns, and I think criminals will find something else like knives. Look at the knife crime in England. It's insane.
London has now hit their record of all time. It's up to 29 now, I believe. Teenagers that have been murdered this year by knives alone.
And do you know what? Our knife crime is increasing, and I don't like that either.
Well, it's the weapon of choice by certain cultures as well.
Yep.
And we cannot deal with crime until you talk about culture. And you're not allowed to talk about culture. You're not allowed to talk about politics. And you're not allowed to talk about religion. So until you talk about the different things and have the conversations in a controlled environment where emotion can be tampered down and political correctness is something that is not required because it is a conversation between wisdom-toting adults, which means you can actually have a conversation without it going to violence. You know, this could quite easily have become a mob situation, which is the reason we have a legal system. But the legal system has to work. If it doesn't, then that's when you end up with things like the French Revolution.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that wasn't that far back in history. That was about the same time that we were colonized. In fact, it was exactly the same time. So, you know, people don't think that things like that can't happen again.
Wait a sec. Mohammed Noor was sentenced to 12 years. That's the police officer that shot the woman, I believe, in America. Yeah, but he's been acquitted, mate. Now he got released. Yeah, I was pretty upset about it because she looked like a lovely lady, you know.
You know, well, it wouldn't matter if she wasn't, you know, but yeah, exactly. I understand. It's just so frustrating and, you know, my heart really goes out to victims of crime, like families and that. How must they feel?
To know that you've lost a family member, and sometimes the actual provider and protector of a family, the patriarchal figure, you know, or matriarchal, to have lost them, and then also to be let down by a lack of justice by a system that can be O.J. Simpson manipulated, even though everyone knows who's guilty, but there's certain precedents and cases in the past that allow for bad people to slip between the cracks.
Yeah, it's really terrible, really. Carl's made a good point. He said, so true, Kaz, the gun laws need to be changed. When that amendment was made, they had muskets, not military assault rifles. The public doesn't need military weapons, because that was something else I was going to bring up about this clip, because I know nothing about weapons, right? But that looked like an awfully big weapon to me.
Yeah, that was either 9mm or 5.56. So it's not a very big weapon. It's not a very big round. You know, it's not. It looks big to people that don't. I'm a weapons expert. I'm a rules of engagement expert, and escalation, force preservation expert, and all of these things. And the perception is a weird thing, because a jury can be made up of 12 people that have absolutely no idea what they're looking at, and that is stimulated, manipulated with a narrative from someone who knows how to spin it and scare people and use stickman theory, you know, to be able to make that the bad guy. And now that comes to bipolar thought processes and the gun debate. Now, let's get one thing right. More shootings happen in gun-free zones than happen in gun zones, because traditionally the people that often do the shootings are the scaredest people that choose the weapon to escalate, because they're so scared they're about to get their ass kicked, whipped, or even ended by someone who is coming to do severe kinetic damage to their carcass. Now, if you watch someone that glasses someone, that does it normally, or kicks someone on the ground, it is normally the person that is the scaredest, that cannot afford for you to get back up, or the cruelest. But if there is two people, like I worked with Colombian soldiers, and they'll tell you, we don't have punch-ons in South America. It's straight away the gun or the knife.
Yeah.
And the reason you do that is because you have to win. Yep. You have to win.
Yeah, for sure.
Indeed. And but if you were going to bring up guns, Lauren, what I would say is, and I love guns, I do, military style weapon systems. Okay, what I don't understand is a military person, when you join Air Force, Army, or Navy. Okay, so I said Air Force first, Simon. You won't touch that weapon until you've learnt all the tab data, the weapon's capabilities, its lethality, etc. Its safety precautions will all be explanation, then demonstration, like this, do that. And that's what will occur. Okay, EDI, explanation, demonstration, imitation. That's what you'll do then. So after all of these practical ways of doing this with the weapon systems, then we're allowed to pick it up.
Yeah. Isn't it all possible? Oh, sorry, you weren't finished. Go on.
Okay. Now, what I don't understand is someone can grab a weapon that you could quite easily carry on any battlefield of the 3-block war and can pick that up with absolutely no knowledge whatsoever, with minimum vetting, and then have that in the center hub of a populace, despite that weapon system can fire a flat trajectory for 300 meters through a crowded location to someone with below 25 years old, minimum amount of judgment, with the frontal cortex development. It only leads to really bad shit. And the most dangerous weapon of all, I hate to tell you, team, is not rifles, it's pistols. Short barrel, okay, maximum arc, okay, and it's very, very easy to make mistakes. And it is the #1 weapon system for negligent discharges on operational theatres.
Yeah, wow. Because I was just thinking, is there any way to look at it from the other perspective? Like, is it possible that when you rewatch that clip, could that man, not us, but could he have actually been very frightened?
I don't think so.
I don't
because
think so.
If he was, he wouldn't have been chest to chest with him. He wasn't backing down at all. And
Exactly.
if you were shitting yourself, he probably would have gone inside the house. His body language was someone who was postured for violence. He could have gone inside and then been yelling through the screen door.
Yeah.
He could have been saying, I'm going to call the police. He could have been straight away yelling.
They must have known it was going to kick off.
Yep.
They knew it was coming. They knew the child wasn't there. What were they expecting him to do? To just not ask what's going on? Were they expecting him to just go, oh, okay then, bye? What were they expecting him to do?
Yeah,
He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't trying to break in the house. He wasn't threatening anybody. He didn't attack anyone.
Well, let's do the video one more time because Robbie Kent has just turned up.
Oh, hi, Rob. Hope your finger's good.
Don't be afraid of my floating head. I haven't been decapitated. So what we're going to do, Rob, is this is a situation that has just occurred. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take it back to here so that everyone gets to see again what we're talking about. Rob, welcome back, mate.
A disagreement over child custody arrangements has ended in death. The argument escalated and a father was shot. The man who pulled the trigger says it was self-defense.
Put yourself in
We should warn you, the video is disturbing.
It's an argument that is about to lead to one man's death.
Where's my son?
54-year-old Chad Reed is picking up his son from his ex-wife's house. Christina Reed and her new boyfriend are telling him to leave.
Get off of my property.
Then the boyfriend goes inside the house.
Look at that. I want to go back for a second.
Yeah.
Look at that son of a bitch with the black shirt. I'm passing judgment here, I know. There is absolutely no panic, no aggression whatsoever. He just calmly walks back in there. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And guess what? He's also, the missus is out of the way because I think she knows what's coming.
Yeah, he's very calm.
Too
isn't he,
calm.
when he comes out with the weapon. Like, if that was JP, I'd be saying, no, stop. Whoa, hold up.
So she clearly allows Kyle to also have a weapon out and about while the kid is around too, because this guy's clearly got this from the other side of the door. But look, the body language, is this guy clearly has had this this pickup is just a routine thing. He didn't expect this to go wrong. Look at him. He's there with his Sunday's best on, dressed like Seinfeld a little bit. But you watch the guy's body language. He's not on the porch. There's no bad language. There's no aggression. He wants his son. If a stepfather of my daughter wouldn't even tell me where my daughter was, I'd be pretty pissed, I tell you now.
Reed and her new boyfriend are telling him to leave. Then the boyfriend goes inside the house.
Was staying in the car, nothing to do with her. It's nothing to do with this guy.
Look at this walk. If you think that he's innocent, watch this walk. There is no fear whatsoever here. This is a setup. Where are we? Where's my son?
Then the boyfriend goes inside the house in Lubbock, Texas. The argument between the exes heats up.
I'll go get him. I'm supposed to have him at 3:15. I get him at 3:15. If you want to see him, you see him up until 3:15.
Suddenly, the boyfriend comes out. He's got a rifle.
Do it right. You gotta use it.
The two men go chest to chest. They struggle for the weapon. Kyle Carruth fires into the ground.
Call 911.
Then he turns and fires 2 more shots.
Oh my God! I have it on video, Kyle.
Told you.
Look at him.
I told all
He
of y'all
knew this was going to happen.
leave.
The dead man's widow just released the video. She told GMA that she never could have imagined she would be recording her own husband's death.
I thought it was like a stun gun or a taser gun or something.
Yeah, see? So he's standing afterwards and everything, you know? He's not shocked that he's just killed someone.
You know why? Because he knew it.
He's not even trying to do first aid. He's not doing
Yep.
anything. There's no...
He'd built himself up to that.
Yep.
Yeah, he knew he was going to do that, I reckon.
Yep.
Dude, I'd be going crazy if I was in the jury.
Yeah.
Yep. Apparently Kyle has been going to parties laughing about it all.
Sad, isn't it?
Twist his head off.
Well, you know how this has all come to light just now is because Chad's wife, who apparently is a very lovely lady, has had to actually launch her own legal proceedings, and she has brought a case against the mother of the child.
Yep.
And apparently oldest child blames the mother for his father's death and doesn't ever want to be around Kyle ever again. Fair enough too. And so she is brought charges forward against the mother for endangering the children by having them around that guy, and that was the only legal avenue she had.
Yep. And that sort of says a lot, doesn't it? That says a lot, the way the actual kids have responded. You know, they should never have to be forced to live with their father's killer.
No, and it sounds like they actually really get along with their actual stepmom, because I don't think Kyle is the husband of the mother. I think he's just the boyfriend. But the lady who was videoing, Chad's wife, they've been married for a little while now.
Yeah.
So the children know her. They've not had a problem with her. They're all ready for a family afternoon out.
Yep.
She doesn't get to just change the rules.
Yeah, that's right. You know, as a step parent, you need to pull your head in.
Yep.
When you've got nothing to do with it. You know, if he had been swearing and abusing, okay, his ex-wife, okay, then you get to step in and go, mate, that is not the way we're going to fly around here.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. He stepped up and took the dominant point straight away. Yeah.
Like his body language looked like he was pleading and really confused when he turned to the mum, like, where's my son? You can't just change the time. You can see him from here till 3:15. Then it's my turn.
The way I'd be looking at this as a prosecutor's point of view would have all come back to the way he went to go and get that weapon. He just strolled back in. You know, there was absolutely no hard beating adrenaline rush to go and get it to save his family, his castle, his property.
Exactly.
This could have been talked down in 100 ways. Could have been going to get the police. There wasn't even get off my property.
No.
You're not meant. There was no. You're not meant to be here.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. There was no. We'll go and get him right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Look,
or yeah.
his only option was to shoot him, because if that guy left without his kid, that lady's losing custody.
I'd imagine so. It'd be very interesting to see a policeman's point of view, because they'd been a real tough decision with this, and all they have to do is exactly what's happened in the poll right here, is have 14% of people say, yeah, well, I don't agree. I'm not sure what your, I don't know what you're basing your decision off, and you might have an angle, absolutely, that I agree with. You might, but I can't see it. And that's the difference. If you only go the way Kaz is, then it becomes almost like a lynch mob, and we don't need that, and that's allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. We are susceptible to pitchfork mentality sometimes.
Johnny, I thought you were saying it's a 9mm AR variant. I thought so by how thin the magazine looked. I actually thought it might have been a 22 by the sound, because 9mm is usually fairly loud, and 22s normally sound like they're almost air assisted, and that's what that one sounded like. But normally, it's not fatal when you get it shot a couple of times by a 22. Okay, Lightfoot is saying the poll is not a yes or no question. I apologise for that. Kyle the shooter, guilty or not guilty?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I would have thought it was fairly simple, yes or no.
No, I didn't understand it. That's why I had to ask.
I'm a
you.
dick. It's my fault.
No.
Kyle, the shooter,
yes,
is
that's
guilty.
Right, like, yes, guilty. No, not guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. You can put yourself in these positions, and this is what I'd do. I'd reverse engineer this. I'd watch this 1,000 times with you, and I'd go, okay, Simon, you're and I'd do it individually. So every one of the jurors was individually there. Go, I want you to watch this, and from the perspective of the guy in the black shirt. You're the stepdad, you're Kyle, you're the shooter. Okay, look at it from his point of view from start to finish. Okay, the next time, I want you to look at it from Kyle's perspective again. Okay, that's your answer there. Now I want you to be from the ex-wife's perspective. What could have you done? Why didn't you do anything? Did you know this was going to happen? Had you spoken that this was what was going to happen the next time he comes here? Now look at it from the point of view from Chad Reed. Okay, because he turned up clearly. He didn't expect any of this way. He put his hands out like, what's going on? Where is he? There's been a change to the plan. I haven't got the memo. What's going on? What could have he done? Okay, when the weapon came out, now what could have you done? What could have you done instead of getting the weapon? How about get the son? What about the woman in the car? She was like, what the hell? What could have she done? And Lauren brought up a really, really good point. No one tried to give first aid.
No one.
That was weird.
I would understand the wife is scared because he's still standing there with the gun saying, don't come on my property. But the ex-wife did. I'm telling you, if that was JP, like I would have been, like whether it was JP with the gun or JP that had just been shot, I would have been over there screaming. The only scream I heard was the wife in the car.
Yeah.
The mum didn't scream. Why not? The kid's dad had been shot.
Yeah, it was very weird. Adam Ski, is it better to use? It is better to use rounds. A security guard will use. They will buy 9mm and 38 for a price. I'm not sure.
Better for what?
No, I think they're talking about the ammunition in America at the moment. There's because this is going on. There's only a limited amount of gunpowder you can buy for recharging your own rounds. Ammunition, you're only allowed to have a certain amount, etc. Okay, I think he was referring to Australia, mate. I'm not sure.
Anyway, they're talking about being able to actually buy.
Oh, Rob Kent reckons he's now a really safe shooter due to his lack of trigger finger.
That's what we should do.
These are a great conversation team. They really are. And you know what? This is the sort of conversation that can happen at a work function. It can happen at just to see how people think, the psychology or group think, etc. An adult conversation. These are the sort of things that should happen. It's more interesting than talking about a football team that you've never seen, never met, never played, that always loses.
Yep,
What do you think about
exactly.
people that turn up to barbecues with the thin sausages and only about 6 of them and a 6-pack of beer?
But they want to just share in everyone else's stuff.
Can't take. I hate it. Can't buy for that price, Jay. 2K up here. Lisa, got to go. Sorry, guys. My sister's walked out on me. Can't believe it.
Become a member.
You just halved your Christmas present in one go.
Come on. She should get a bigger Christmas present now.
She hugs me too long.
Oh, no. That's not true. She loves you. You're her little bro.
Okay, Lightfoot says, I don't know the penetrative power of a 22. It's minimum, mate. Almost none. But that was but there is also supersonic. There's subsonic, below the speed of sound, supersonic, above. It is
point blank?
Sorry, point blank. It's almost. Also, the concussion force would do pressure damage. No, it wouldn't. Even if the rounds didn't penetrate the skin, no, not so much. No. Ex-army here had to learn it. Adam, it's
What do you mean? Talking about the price of weapons on the black market. Last I looked, did you have to learn about that in the army?
I didn't, but I had Adam. I'm not sure how old Adam is, but I know Hall's gun shop before the Port Arthur situation occurred. There's almost nothing you couldn't buy. I had an SKS unregistered plastic folding shoulder rest with the pistol grip, everything on it. Never got to fire it. You know, it got stolen by a section commander. Yeah, but you could buy anything, and there was also weapons getting sold in between people. You could call it black market, but that'd be racist. It was sold between people with no papers of ownership, etc.
Yeah,
that was
black market. Yeah.
You know, in the army, we actually used to you could get for mil skills for good participation or shooting a 303 as a gift.
I wonder if that still exists.
No, it doesn't. Tubes for life, says Leo. Yes. I've still got 17 packets downstairs, and my daughter opened her first packet of tubes today. It was a moment that put a tear in my eye.
Because Jay brought up a good point. He said, didn't Lisa give you a heap of tubes?
2 boxes, but it cost me $200 for those 16 packets. I got a vagabond to buy them for me, and he looked until he found them.
Black market tubes now.
Aussie Veterans Fishing, there you go. I bought my SLR at Hall's Gun Shop. Hall's. You could buy the Spaz 12 there. You could buy everything. The SLR was the weapon I signed on for when I joined the army. 7.62 was used in Malaysia, was used in Vietnam, used by the UK up until they got their SR-80, no, SRA. Anyway, SR-88 or whatever. I can't remember. But that is a weapon. It had a wooden stock on it, Lauren.
Yep.
So when you were a shooter, and like a 303, you'd never shoot 180 rounds of a 303. Your face would look like mincemeat, a drop pie. It would. Right. So what would happen is when you get the SLR, which has a 7.62 metal butt in your shoulder, wooden stock in your cheekbone, and normally you're not the modern age human, you're not fat yet, so you're fairly gaunt from not eating properly, normally in winter as well in Kapuka. What would happen is there'd be 60 rounds, 3 magazines of 20, that would be for equivalent to the LF9, which was your standard marksmanship shoot before you start getting advanced, etc. It was your yearly qualification shoot you had to do, or go on operations beyond zeroing your weapon, etc. And I tell you what, if you failed that shoot and you had to fire again, that meant you just went from 60 rounds to now firing 120. And if you had to reshoot again, that meant you ended up firing 180 rounds and then potentially still got back squatted. Mate, I had a rifle at Singleton called the Silver Ghost, you know,
really?
Because there was no bluing left on the barrel. You could spit on it. If you'd come back from Vietnam and someone spat on you as a protester, your weapon would have had rust on it and you would have got bloody charged, you know, and it shot around corners. I'm sure it had a bent barrel, but I remember that bastard. And SA-80, well done, Dave Penson. He knows his weapons too.
I've got comments to catch up on here if you're all right too.
We'll be there in 2 seconds.
Okay.
So the LF9, you fail that. You know, you could come back and you felt like you had a migraine, blood in your mouth. It was, you were a mess, ulcers all over the inside of your mouth from concentrating so hard over holding the weapon. You know, the first rule of marksmanship principle is the weapon must point naturally at the target. Okay. The second one is position hold must be firm enough to support the weapon. Third one, sight and alignment must be correct. And the fourth being shot must be released and followed through without disturbance to the firer's position. Now you can find all of that on the internet. It's easy, but it is marksmanship shooting principles. So what would happen is you'd hold the weapon because you'd be so concentrated and trying not to fail that you end up treating your face like a war crime. It was horrible.
Gosh.
Need a Brussels sprout, Lauren. Okay, so let's go with the questions. What do we got?
All right. Connor Haynes says, hey, mate, 21 Platoon Charlie Company just marched out today. We made it thanks to your guidance.
Well done. Well done. Were you right marker or did you come up short? How many people got back squatted in your platoon? And can we get some thumbs up for 21 Platoon? What corps are you going to, mate?
Yep, and for Connor Hayes, that'd be great.
Connor, good name.
And Aussie Veterans Fishing says, I served with you in Delta and he was the piper in Malaysia.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily narrow it down. You know, were you a Pied Piper? I love a good pie. You know, but I'm wondering what name it is now. You know, no doubt we've got some great stories and great information on each other too. Mate, you're more than welcome here. Great to have you here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we get a lot of veterans here of all ranks, both officers and senior NCOs, all the way up to RSM. So just make sure if you're a military person that when you're talking on here, if you're serving, be careful you don't let your real name slip or don't speak smack because it can come back real quick.
Even under a pseudonym, you've got to be careful. Jason.
Oh, Hawley, how you going, mate?
There you go. Do you actually have a channel? Because if you've got a fishing channel, we'll all support it. We're all for supporting Aussie YouTubers.
We don't have a problem on here with you advertising YouTube channels.
No, go for it. You put a link in to your channel if you actually post videos. We'd love to. Connor Haynes says, had 4, I think he means back squatted.
Yep. 8
RORs.
That means they've said, nah, I'm done.
Okay, never got that right marker spot, unfortunately, not tall enough, he says.
There you go. So there's 8 people there that have basically discharged on request. Now, their life forever now will be, how would have I gone? Have I made a mistake? Did I get out for my reason? Or is this the way I'm going to start my life, failing the first career I had a crack at that was my dream job?
Failing, giving up. Yep, it's not a good.
It's tough.
Not a good precedent to set for your life.
If you need a hand there, Aussie Veteran Fishing,
let us know.
Give me a call. The best way to find me, mate, is as you know, is through the Facebook, the Messenger, or on the Patreon, where people go to. So for those one-on-one chats, etc. If you need any advice there, I should do advice for people that are considering starting YouTube because it can be very, very expensive and it is not as easy as people make out. And I tell you what, you'll be working hard, you know, and it's not necessarily appreciated or reciprocated.
That's true. But I wouldn't have been able to do it technology-wise if you hadn't have taught me.
Well, this is an example. This is an interesting subject. And it's the least amount of views I've ever had from any stream on a Friday afternoon.
But you know what? We're having a good chat.
It's great.
So it's them that's missing out.
As long as the lurker is here and we've got people from Vietnam, which we have, Dave Penson. Okay? It's all good. And we've got people from Connor who is actually at Kapuka who is not saying the channel's full of shit. Okay? What we've said has been true. Then it's an absolute privilege. Connor Hayes, he sounds like an outboard motor. Also going Armoured Corps, fantastic corps, my second choice. Leave for Pucker Monday, end up getting Christmas duties. Yep, that's normal.
It does. And yes, I agree. Aussie veteran fishing should look at Mr. Buckaroo, but he's not much of a fisherman.
his bait gets away.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Buckaroo's good value.
Yeah. And I tell you what, guys, the stock market has been as painful as the second fleet coming to Australia this week. Yeah.
That painful?
That painful. Lashes on the back coated in vinegar. Every day when it turns to 12 past 10 in the morning, I'm going, no, it's about to be real again.
Yep. Aussie Veteran Fishing just wanted me to tell you that they are walking from the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne to the, do you mean the Strand? To the Starrand or whatever. I don't know quite where you're headed in 2023. My apologies. That's probably me.
We'll get to the bottom of that soon enough.
It's a big walk, though, by the sounds.
Okay, so Connor's saying, too right, mate, everything that you've said has been spot on. And this is very important, especially to those that are still going through the trials and tribulations of trying to get into the military. And I've got some news for you in 2 seconds. Perfect channel for preparation. Been watching for years. Appreciate it. Legend. Good on you, mate. We need people in Cav because I can't always afford an Uber with the stock market the way it is. Space Ninja. How do I work towards my way towards the SASR?
Yeah.
Get in the army, do your time somewhere in the 4 years that you do your first 4 years. Then what happens is from there, doors will open. Your mind will have changed. You will have changed mentally and physically. And then the path to SASR, which is different for every single person, will glow for you or will dull so much you'll go, you know what? I thought that's what I wanted, but now I'd rather go to 2 Commando. Or it could be, you know what? I'm pretty happy with being in the battalion because it was goddamn hard to get that Skippy badge to get here as well.
Yeah, exactly, and you've got to keep the standard up too. So Aussie Veterans Fishing is walking from the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne to the Strand in Townsville.
Holy shit!
That's a long walk.
How come the people that people raise money for are never the ones doing it themselves?
Yeah, I think that's mighty nice of you. 5,000 kilometres. Well, keep us updated on that. You should get your channel going with that walk.
Yeah, you could make a channel based just on that.
Yeah.
Adam Ski, I wonder if they still play tricks on the bus to Kapuka. Yeah, I don't know, man. I laughed. I used to laugh like buggery with that one. LUSCA's hard to earn. The Skippy, it is hard. And once you got it forever. The Northern Parrot. Hey, Kaz and Lauren and team and Mr. P and Mr. Buckaroony. Mr. P and Mr. Buckaroony aren't on tonight, mate.
Yeah, I hope Mr. P's doing okay because he actually hasn't been in really good health lately.
I might give him a ring tomorrow.
He's not doing very well, so send him some good vibes.
He'll be having some crumpets, tomorrow morning when I ring him. Maybe. Has anyone heard of?
No, I haven't.
Mate, my eyes are done. Gypsy.
Yeah, Fen Dog Aussie Gypsy. Nope.
Yeah, Aussie veteran. Hawley, I can help you, mate.
Yeah, we'll help you. We all help each other. We'll help you, sure.
Yeah. You know what happened to Burke and Wills when they tried to do that walk? Didn't end well. Got to the Blue Mountains and said, this sucks.
Yeah. Exactly.
We might get out of here, team. Thank you very much for your honesty with the poll tonight.
Yeah, it was good. Interesting conversation, and it was interesting to look through sort of everyone's eyes and perspectives about it.
Yeah. Carl, we'll finish this one with Carl. Basically, the tricks that used to happen on the way to Kapuka, basically what would happen is while your family is seeing you, and there'd be bombardiers and corporals and all that sort of stuff that are going to be your actual section commanders when you get to Kapuka, that'd be so nice to you in front of the family. Oh, Robert, get on the bus. And as soon as we got in the bus in the one I was in, it was a guy from artillery, pretty big fella, muscles everywhere, reading a muscle mag, which meant to me that you're clearly gay. That's what I used to think, if you liked a muscle mag, or put oil on your biceps. And then he got up and swung around. As soon as we got out of town, he's going, "You're in the army now. You shut your mouth. You sit there, you pieces of shit." And all this. And I was like, and I started laughing because my sense of humour's never changed. I made enemies out of him on the spot. And then he looked around and I was laughing my head off with a guy that ended up going to SAS because he had this muscle magazine, and I thought at the time that's the kind of guy that'd wear a pink shirt, and hang out in public toilets. And then one of the girls, there was a girl that was going there because women had only just, women didn't go to Kapuka with men. They had their own platoons, and I was going, "What's she doing here on the bus?" And ultimately, she proved me right, and she walked into the mirror and split her forehead when we got off the bus just to go and get a last chocolate milk, and she couldn't even get on the bus without walking straight into the bloody the mirror and cracking her head open. I was thinking, Jesus, she's not going to be real good with a weapon, is she? But then they pretended to beat people up in the hallway. My ears have always been this big. So they made me get my hair cut first. So to make everyone else think, holy shit, what are they doing to us with those clippers? Look what they've done to that poor kid. They'd get us all, there'd be 60 soldiers all in the RAP, and it was cold when I joined, and there'd be female nurses all there with all these guys with nothing on but a pair of jocks. Yeah.
You might have to stay on a bit longer. A whole heap of people have just rocked up.
I just saw what's going on. I'm in not a rush to get away. Just my little girl, I haven't said goodnight to her.
Oh, yeah.
It's too late now. It's 9:30.
Dave just got back. Emma C is here. She loves the floating head. Nice to see you, Emma.
Thanks, Emma.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
And we've got Daniel Benjamin said he's got his assessment session on Monday and he's loving the stream. Well, I'm glad that you're loving it because I'm enjoying the conversation. Well, and I don't know a lot about like weapons or things or men, how they, bolster with each other and that. I don't know much about that.
Well, we're really big on don't name names. We're also really big on, bullies can end up getting hurt worse than anyone. We stick up for each other. We have dark humour because we have to, because we don't have internet where we go. There's no TVs, there's no music. Yes. So what you have is your personality with you. And when idle hands make fun of the devil's playthings, being idle hands, then we make games, whether it be cards, whether it be bets, whether it be dares, whether it be pecking order. People talk about the bullying that can happen in the army. You go, okay, when there is 30 men that get into one area, and it'll be just as bad if you put 30 girls in one area, normally what happens is there is key positions, within the dynamics, right? Yeah. And pity Stoddy's not here. He would have known about this one. And basically what will happen is there'll be the dominant individual and maybe someone who is fighting for that dominance. There'll be the funny person. There will be the quiet person. You can have as many quiet people as you want, but they're not really influential. And then you've got the middle tier, etc. Well, what happens is once a group gets over eight men, or even 8 men, that's a dangerous amount of people before there's going to be a clash of personalities and one has to go. So when you have a team of 30 and you have to work together, basically it is the confrontation that happens between competing personalities that cause the friction points that causes gangs to split, which is the reason why gangs also have power plays, positions, why Genghis Khan couldn't get the clans to come together. It's a personality trait of being a human. It happens with most animals as well in the wolf pack. Okay, but the funny thing is, we don't judge it when it happens on animals. We only judge it when it happens between people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And when no one's there to butt in, when no one names names, sometimes you have to fight for the right.
Yep.
And every boy, when they become a man, normally happens around a time where you stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for yourself. And this is not a gender thing, but women don't have to stand up for themselves ever in their life, really. You know, I would hate to think there's going to be a time where they're going to get pounded in the face just because, you know, someone wants to see if they'll do anything about it. Whereas with boys, yep, whether you're a tradie, you know, put some thumbs up down there if you've seen that happen before. Tradie, whether it's butchers, whether it be plumbers, whether it be soldiers, whether it be fireys, whether it be police. You know, these things happen. And footy teams, every team, there will be run-ins. And if you don't stick up for yourself, or you can't stick up for yourself, eventually you become the runt. And the runt has a shit life even when they're a puppy. Yep.
Sorry, watching chat.
That's okay.
Yep. Yes.
And look at Adam Ski saying.
We had someone run off the bus into a field and a few soldiers grabbed a gun and shot at him. He played dead. Everyone was going, what? It was just a prank on us.
Oh, okay. It was just a prank. You got it.
Right. Okay.
We had one guy that had so much anxiety. His name was Spong. I don't normally mention names, but Spong was sprung in the morning. You know, he had so much anxiety, you know, sleeping in the bed, the cold, the friction, the nervousness in the morning. He swore he'd gone blind from the tension.
Oh no.
He was crying, I can't see.
Robin's got to go fight some crime.
Robin, he does.
Yeah, holy haberdashery, Batman.
Well, let's call this a wrap. Emma C, it was great to have you here.
Yeah,
You're all fantastic to have here, and it's great to have this conversation, this platform, and some little things that this is the end of the stream, so most won't see it. Jay Hayes, I had your shirt on before, but I took it off to put this one on.
Good choice.
Yeah, this might be the stream choice from now on. But basically what's going to happen is, you know, it's going to annoy some people probably, but the channel eventually has to steer away from just doing military. Guys, honestly, we have so many videos out there, and if I keep regurgitating the same message just stretched out in a different way, then people will not go to the good productions that have already been made, and they'll get lost in the forest. So we're going to make a video and let people know, if you're here for the military mentoring, you're going to need to go over to Patreon for the price of a coffee a month and go over there, get the phone call. You know, it's a limited edition amount of people on there, but you get a one-on-one conversation where we tailor it to you, you know, and you're good to go. The second point is that this is your channel. You know, I need your information. I need you to tell us what you want more of, need more of, you know, and hopefully you still enjoy it, because I love it. It gives me a place to be. It gives Lauren a place to be. You're our tribe. Yep.
It keeps off the streets, doesn't it?
Well, I've got a house, so I'm not in the street. And the last one is from, let's just say, the highest rank that's not an officer in the Army, spoke to today.
Oh, Dave D.
Year of 2022 is going to be the year of the soldier for those that want to join. The reason being, they're short on numbers. They push too many away, and now they're trying to get people in. So if you want to get in the Army, be careful how hard you goddamn try, because you just might get a date ASAP. And if you're not in the Army yet, if you're not in Kapuka yet, and they're about to close down, you know, and Connor will be able to tell you that, then what's going to happen is, if you go to infantry and everything goes well, you will be at the School of Infantry in winter. And you know what? That sucks. But it'll make you stronger. It'll make you earn your Skippy badge. You'll know what it feels like to grab that traverse rope, which is thick as mandingo, you know, or a skinny person's calf muscle, you know, and you remember that for the rest of your life, you know, because you see everyone's face when they first grab the traverse rope. First obstacle of the obstacle course, and it's back squatted more people than anything else.
Good grief. Just your turns of phrases, sometimes they make me blush.
I wish I could wear this in public.
Yeah.
Okay, if you've had enough of whiteface tonight, I'm going to get going and eating some tubes. tomorrow, righto, I'm probably going to be making a video. Doesn't mean it'll come out tomorrow. I'm going to go and look and see how bad the stocks went for the week. I'm going to go and buy a heartburn sandwich. Cheese, Danish salami, Hungarian, with some red onion, okay, and some cheese and some barbecue sauce.
I don't like barbecue sauce, but everything else sounded good.
Well, I want to spend the night tossing around like I'm possessed.
I imagine you'd smell bad.
Mm.
And I'll be streaming again next week. We'll be catching up on what's happening with the Royal Commission and some things like that.
Okay, sounds great. Dave Penson, boom, boom. Okay, there we go. He was an instructor at Kapuka for 3 years. You kept that one a secret.
Yeah, he's a man of many talents.
Jay reckons that Kaz is his Tasmanian second head.
Yeah, because he's from here.
Good to see you there, Joshy. So tonight, the real victim in this, is the son of Chad Reed.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
So-
I believe they have 2 children together.
And that's what we need to remember too. Adults that weren't drunk had this fatal meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible. So with that, guys, learn from the mistakes of others. That's what we say. That is the main reason of recipe of wisdom, is watching others make mistakes and learning from them. And the advice has normally come from a mistake that is once seen.
Yep.
And as they say in Hill Street Blues, which was one of the oldest but best police shows you could have ever watched, one of the things they always used to say that you couldn't say now, we'll finish off with, is do it to them before they do it to you. See you later. Love and respect to your families. Still call Australia home, and it wasn't my fault. See ya.